Today we're talking about one of the most overlooked tools in the mountain biker's maintenance toolbox, and that is the torque wrench. So if you've ever wondered why you might need one of these or which one is best, then this is the video for you. So torque is essentially rotational force, and a torque wrench will show you or control how much rotational force you will put on something. So why do we bother with this? Well, on a bike, if you over tighten a bolt, you could crack a frame or crush a seat post. But if you under tighten something, you could be one rock garden away from your handlebars spinning in your stem, for example. So today we're going to show you how to use it and how to use the different torque wrenches and what might be best for you. So these are the most common torque wrenches that you will see. They're adjustable on the bottom and they will bend and give a little click noise or an audible click so that you know when you've reached the torque setting that you've set it to. Now, the benefit with these guys is that you can attach different bits to them. So for example, you can have different sized hex keys on there, or you can even have sockets. So they will work on a lot of different bolts and a lot of different nuts on your bike. So Park Tools make two different sizes in torque wrenches, and the reason being is that they have slightly different purposes. The smaller one will be 2 to 14 Newton meters, and that will be good for common components like your stem bolts and your derailleur, for example. Whereas the larger one will be 10 to 60 Newton meters, and this will be good for more heavier duty components like your crankset or your bottom brackets, as they require more force. So these are the L-shaped versions of Park Tools torque wrenches. This is referred to as PTD, so it's a preset torque driver, and what that means is it only has one torque setting, so it's always going to be a 5 or a 6, for example. So this makes things nice and simple if you find yourself always using the same setting for, say, your components on your bike. It's also quite ergonomic as well, the way it fits in your hand, and you can also apply pressure to, say, a bolt to make sure it doesn't slip and accidentally round a bolt. Now you can get these in an adjustable version here, the ATD, which will click and move around so that you can get anything from a 4 to a 6. And these are more affordable than, say, the adjustable lever versions, but I will say that it is limited, so you'll have less range on your Newton meters of the adjustable. And obviously, if you get a preset, you only have one setting. And also, it will only take the small bits that come with it. You won't be able to apply sockets, for example, and you won't be able to use it on anything that requires a bigger force. So just to show you some other brands, this is a toe peak version of the lever torque wrench. It's also adjustable in very much the same way as the other Park Tool ones, but it's much more compact. So if you're traveling a lot, you might want to get yourself a little box like this, for example, as it comes with all of the bits that you might need when building your bike on holiday. Topeak also make the Ratchet Rocket, which is essentially a very small torque wrench, and it has a kind of dial system that shows you the Newton meters that you're applying through the tool and through the bolt. And this is great for taking out on the trails because it's very small, very compact, and you can buy it in different configurations depending on your needs out on the trail. And this is essentially how this works, which is what you will get if you buy a Canyon. It's free in the box. It's literally just a little dial that shows you how much force is being applied through a bolt. So let's assume that I want to tighten up this bolt here on my linkage. First of all, we need to figure out what the reading on the Newton meters is for this bolt. Now, luckily for me, it's actually written on here, and a lot of the time they are written on the bike itself. But if you don't have any writing on the bolt that you're tightening, then you'll just need to consult your manual for your bike. You might be able to find that online, or you might have to consult the manual for the part that you're trying to tighten. Now here, I want to get the bit for my adjustable torque wrench so that I can tighten it. So for me, this is a 5mm here. So I can attach that to my torque torque wrench, and there's a little button on the head usually, which kind of releases the mechanism to make it easier to put on and off. And then it's locked in when you let go. And then we want to adjust the torque wrench to the Newton meters that I need. So I need 15 Newton meters. That's why I've gone for the bigger one here. And on the bottom, you'll see a lot of numbers, and you'll just be rotating that until you can see the number in the window aligned with the red line that you want. So for me, I want 15 Newton meters. And what you'll see is that there's a 0 and then it goes all the way around to 4.5. Reason being is you can have that as a 15, or you can move it up to say one more, which will make it 16, or 17 if you move it up to 2. So it just gives you a little bit more adjustability within that window. Also on the head of the torque wrench, there's usually a lever here like this, and that controls which way the bit turns so that you can loosen or tighten. If you're not sure, once you put it in, if it starts clicking round, you've not got it in the right place. So I can just flick this lever, and now when I apply pressure, it will actually tighten the bolt. So what you want to do is push it nice and firmly into the bolt so that it doesn't slip or round, and then start to apply pressure slowly, and you will eventually see the lever will bend and click. So there you go, it's clicked. That means it's applied the correct force. I don't need to tighten it any more than that. So just to show you how one of the presets works, so I've got a 5 Newton meter preset here, and luckily my seat clamp is a maximum 5 Newton meters of pressure, and I've got the correct bit here, so they apply into the hole here like so, and then we apply a little bit of force into the bolt and give it a turn until it clicks. You should hear it and feel it. There we go, and that's tightened, so we know it's torqued correctly. If you've tightened something with your torque wrench, but it doesn't seem to be tight enough, don't just do it up tighter. That can still damage your components. Sometimes there are imperfections in a component or imperfections in the shapes of, say, for example, your handlebars, that means it's difficult to torque them up. But you can apply bicycle assembly grease, or usually max grip, for example, like a grip paste, that will help torque up that component or fill in the imperfections. If you have an adjustable torque wrench, then wind it down to its lowest setting when you're finished with it. This will protect the springs internally and keep it calibrated to perfection. And if it comes with a case, then it doesn't hurt to put it away to keep it protected as well. And over time, it will lose its calibration, so you might need to seek out a hardware store that will recalibrate it for you. And 2 things never to do with your torque wrench is never loosen bolts, as this can damage the spring or throw out the calibration of your torque wrench, which means it won't be as accurate going forward. And also never guess the torque setting, and never assume that once you've torqued it up once, it will stay that way. Some things work loose, and you may have to check your bike or your bolts periodically over time to make sure that everything is torqued up correctly. Well, hopefully that's helped you, and now you are a master of the torque wrench. But if you still have questions, then let me know down in the comments below, or use hashtag AskGMBNTech, as we will pick that question up and use it in one of our tech shows in the future. But for now, please like this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe if you're new to the channel.